What's going on, riders? I just wanted to talk to you about where I'm at. I didn't want to get too far ahead without giving you an update. I took off the gas tank. That allowed me to get access to these wires right here. And the sheathing of that throttle cable on the back on the left side there came up and was crimping my cable. And that was preventing me from getting those cables onto that throttle housing. After I slid that sheathing back down, put it in the slot there, and then I had to come around, get access to the cables there, push it back up through the sheathing. Then I was able to grab the little ball with my bent needle nose there and pulled it up, got the slack out of the cable, put the little brass ferrules on, slid them into the slots, and then I did the front one first. It was a quarter turn back, and then I was able to get that back one in. TC Bros also gave good assistance in customer service for their product. Really big shout out to those guys, and that's how I was able to get it on. So it's working pretty good. Now I haven't adjusted it or anything super final yet, because ultimately what I'm going to do is take it all apart and we're going to get the frame powder coated and maybe the fenders as well. So I'm not going to get too carried away about trying to make it super precise right now. The plan is I'm going to try to take the speedometer off first. I'm going to try to trace that back, and then I'm going to do the blinkers. After I have the blinker wires figured out where they're running, to see if there's any quick disconnect clamps. Previously, this is an 06 Sportster. I looked just briefly, and it looks like this speedometer wire comes right here, and there's a connection right underneath this mainframe. I don't know if there's another connection that comes back. I watched a video on YouTube that it came right back here, so I would like to get the full wire if I can, because I don't want a bunch of wires hanging out right here if I don't have to have them. I like that real clean chopper look. So let's see what we can figure out. So like I said, this group of wires comes right here. First clip, just a zip tie, nothing to be scared about there, I guess. It's definitely this bundle, has a clip right here. Now that looks like, so this is definitely like the main wire harness right here. I suppose for right now, time being, I can take it apart from this clip, from that main wire harness, and I know this part is still good from here to here. If for some reason somebody needs it or whatever, so it's this top clip here. It looks like there's a couple little, of course it's not easy. I'm trying to figure out how this plastic piece is connected. Seems like it's kind of connected to the frame. Let's see here. Aha! It's coming. Alright. So that seems to be disconnected. Let's see if we can't. This is the same kind of like mounting bracket that holds on. It looks like it holds on the ignition, and it holds on this coil, and it holds all the wires kind of up in a bracket. And it's got like there's a round piece with a circle center, and the circle goes over it and it holds it in place, and then you put a bolt through that and the gas tank, and that's how all this is sitting on there. Oh, it's not going down any further because it's hitting the head right there. But I should be able to slide my wire out. Holy smokes. Okay. That's all it was going to take to get the speedometer off of there. Now I do still have that main harness wire. I don't need to worry about it too much right now. I'll pick up this piece. Looks, you know, this little like black smoke screen thing with your neutral light and your turn signals, check engine light on it. Holy fucking piss. Thought somebody just yanked my door open. It must have been the wind or something. It scared the shit out of me. Alright, speedometer is off. I also want to do the ignition relocation. So I guess I'm gonna pull that off real quick. Alright, so that's where I traced it back to, the speedometer clip. You can see there's still that main wire harness. But what I'm going to do is take off this little Allen key. I'm going to do this ignition relocation back over to the other side. I'm going to take off that Allen so it disconnects from the bracket, and then I'll be able to have this independent from the wire harness, that wire group over there as well. Alright, so I'm going to try to get these blinkers off, and if there's a little set screw here, and if you just loosen it enough, pretty soon that'll just pop right off of that. Alright, so I traced both of those blinkers right back to this block on the far left side, and I put a flathead right back in there to depress the tab, and then just pulled right out. Okay, I just pulled that end through the triple trees, and the blinkers are off. Alright, so before I go any further on the electrical, I'm going to take care of this front brake line. So what I'm going to do, before disconnecting any of the banjo fittings, I'm not going to touch this side yet. I'm just going to disconnect from the triple trees, get it free, and bring it over here, and then I've got a little catch pan for any oil. The front brake was held on by just two things: a little Allen key up underneath the triple tree, and then another little socket up here, just those 2 points, and it removed. And I'm going to try to get this off all in one right here from this banjo fitting, take it off and keep it on the little, it's a 30-gallon trash leg that I have flipped upside down, and I think will work quite nice, but I don't know. Well, not all that much at all. And I'm going to put this one outside. Alright, so it looks like that left side handle grip was plugged into the left side here. The right side handle grip came down, was plugged into that right side there. And all of the grips are disconnected, but now when I turn the key on, the headlight does not work. So I'm going to have to figure out what happened there. Alright, so what I did was dropped this down, took the Allen key out of the ignition there, and now I'm going to try to work this wire back and get this wire free. That way we can relocate that ignition over here. Alright, so as you can see, I kind of cut this wire back. I've got my starter wires, and then I'm going to work on getting this bracket put on there. Perfect. Alright, so what we're going to do is take this left pipe off. Jeez. baby. Alright. Now that that's off, I'll have access to that little trap door there. And with those 3 little bolts out, and we'll play with the starter. Alright, so there's the old one. Here's the new one with the button. This is the question. Are these things gonna work? Is it gonna work if I just move the button out of the way? Needle nose. Alright, what's going on, world? So what I'm going to do today is work on replacing this clutch cable. Got a new clutch cable in the works. I got a new one from Barnett clutches. It is chrome, or it is a steel braided cable, and I think it'll look really nice with the chrome aesthetic that I got going on here. So what we need to do first is go ahead and pop off that clutch cover. My cable is already loose. If you haven't done that already, you need to get the cable loose first. So, alright, so all of these broke free. When you pull this off, there's going to be a little spring-loaded mechanism inside. Just be careful with that. Tilt the plate away from my understanding. That way nothing tries to fall inside. Alright, so this is that piece. It goes on. So there's a direction to it. It went on just like that and pushed away, and that's what keeps that cover spring loaded. So now what we got to do is we'll go ahead and turn that clockwise actually to remove it, and we'll get that piece replaced after we remove it from here. So you turn this clockwise all the way out. What I found was, TikTok, YouTube, everybody, you need a slightly skinny flathead. My first flathead was too thick and it wouldn't go through the hole on the other side, and it's gonna thread that little spindle all the way off until this comes off. So I put my finger up underneath of here and grabbed that little sandwich and pulled it out, and that ensured those little ball bearings didn't fall through. So maybe that tip will help you guys. And then this little piece connects right to that end, and it goes back together the opposite direction. So we'll see if we can't break that free and keep on going. Alright, got that re-threaded in here. If I push on that back end, I have a little bit can grab that thing and I'll try to reassemble it. Alright guys, so update. The brass bushing, this brass bushing that comes in these Moto Iron vintage controls is not needed with the end on the clutch cable that we have. But the new Barnett clutch is too thick to fit through there. So we're gonna drill out those threads and see how it works. Alright, so I want to give everybody an update here. What happened? Got frustrated yesterday. I stopped for the night. What ended up happening, I closed this up. I thought I had it all assembled correctly, and I do believe I have it assembled correctly. I didn't lose any of the ball bearings inside. I was careful. I put it all back together. When I put it all back together and I had this all together, it seemed like I had no slack and I was not able to get it through that connection point. So what I did was I took it all apart. I talked to the boys at TC Bros and they said nothing's wrong with the handle, something's going on with the clutch cable. They weren't familiar with the Barnett clutch. What I did was I adjusted this plate. I think I had it maybe a little too tight, so I screwed it, I loosened it a little bit, and I was able to push the cable here just slightly forward, and that gave me just enough clearance to get that eyelet through that gap on what I think he called the clutch handle collar. Once I got it through that gap, you can see the hole's gonna line up for me. So I'm gonna try to get it put together, and then I'm gonna try to start it, or I'm gonna try to, squeeze it a couple times and see how it feels.